Welcome to this episode of the Gunman. In this video I'll be taking you through this Maserati Ghibli painted in Blue Emozione. I'll be doing the primer work and prep work on this car. So it's a pretty nice car, as you guys can see. So I'll just started off by a bit of a look around the car, and I'll show you the damage that we've got, which is just a little bit of a scratch here on this passenger side fender here, left hand fender. So a bit of a scratch there. My boss said you could blend into that door if you wanted to, but I said just hold off. I said let me check my colour first. I'll see what the colour looks like, and I decided that there was no need to blend into that door. It's just more paint on the car, and you'd rather sort of keep more of it more original, to be honest. So that's why I didn't blend that door. So the colour name, as you saw there, was Blue Emozione. I'm guessing that's the Italian word for blue emotion, or emotion blue. And I couldn't actually find a colour code for it. So what I ended up doing, I actually just got the Spectrophotometer, and I just took a couple of readings and plugged it up to the computer, and it scanned our database. It ended up finding that it was actually a Harley Davidson colour, some Harley Davidson blue, and it was exactly perfect match. I didn't even have to do any colour matching, so it worked out quite well for me. I'll give you guys a look at the colour in a couple of minutes once the primer's drying. So I just started off, as you saw there, by just giving it a really good clean down. So I found that there was no real water-based contaminants on this one, but being that it's just come from the car yard, it's probably just been sold. The car yards tend to spray silicone-based cleaners and stuff like Armor All and all those kinds of things all over the cars, so they make them look good, but that ends up with problems for us. So I actually gave it a wax and grease remover, sprayed that over the entire fender first, wiped down, and that's before I even started doing any prep work. And then just here, just using that soft block and just a piece of 180 there. You can probably go 180 or 240 if you wish. I wouldn't want to go much coarser than 180 on just a small scratch like that. But I did decide to feather it out because if you were to fill it up, sometimes you can end up getting a little bit of shrink back. Even after you prime it, you'll actually still see that line. Being that this is what the damage is, this is the damage that we're here to fix, and I'll 2-pack prime it, bake it out for a good 45 minutes in the infrared heat lights, and then that'll fully cure it. Sometimes if this was, say, a blend panel or something like that, and we had the damage that we were here to fix was, say, up the front near the headlight, and it was just a blend and we're just doing it for a freebie or something, yeah, maybe I would put filler into it, and then just put a bit of colour, and if it shrinks back, well, we've done our best, it's a freebie anyway. But to do it properly, I'd prefer to feather it out, less chance of the shrink back. So just here, I'm just using 500 to get rid of the 180 scratches, just by hand, and just grab my airline and get rid of all that dust. Next up, just give it a bit of a Scotch Brite. I'm using red Scotch Brite just around all those edges, just to make sure all my primer is going to stick when I go to put my primer on. There I'm giving the apprentice's orders, telling them what to do. Oops, should have edited that out, I usually do. Must have missed it. There you go. So now we're starting to mask it up. Just make sure your masking is all done correctly, and because I'm using the infrared lights, it's important that you do use paper as well. If you just go straight over with your plastic and then put the infrared lights on it, they can actually burn and melt the plastic. Quite easy. Also be extremely careful of any plastic mouldings on the car, say like a headlight or even a wing mirror or a door mirror or something like that. You can definitely melt them. I've done it once myself when they were new to me. I melted this tail light. The car was going, it was in a hurry, and then I said to the boss, oops, not going to be in your good books, but no, you live and learn, and it's one of those things. That's why I try to include all those little bits of info in my vids. Basically, rule of thumb with the heat lights, it's about a metre distance. If you anything around a metre, maybe just a bit over a metre, but also just keep an eye on what you're priming as well. You know, just feel it by hand. If you don't have a temperature gauge, they've got these little infrared light temperature sensors, and you can just point it onto wherever you want, point it onto the panel, and it'll tell you where your panel temperature is. And you can safely get your paint up to 100 degrees. Anything much above that, you're running the risk of bubbling your paint and just blistering it up. I've had it up to say 105, but then 110 it started bubbling once. So we were just when it was new to us, we were just sort of doing some tests on some old panels, and yeah, we found that with fresh primer and stuff like that, you don't want to go anything above 100. So yeah, obviously just using a nice new piece of plastic. I don't want to use an old one on a car like this. I don't want any overspray on it. Using a nice sharp razor blade and just opening that plastic up. It's good plastic. This has got a static coating on it, so as you can see, it's actually sticking to the car. It also helps when you're in the booth as well. It helps the dust to stick to the plastic rather than to your paintwork as well. So if you guys decide that you really like this car and you'd like to see a bit more of a video on just the rest of the car and just inside it, and I took it for a bit of a drive as well, I've made a different channel because I like to keep the Gunman just relative just to spray painting and stuff like that. So yeah, if you guys would like to see the rest of another video, just check out my other channel. I've got another channel that I just made a little while ago. I'll put a link in the description below in the comments, so check that out if you want. So here we are. I'm just mixing up my primer here. So it's just Standox VOC light grey filler, primer filler, really good quality, and you can see there I'm using it at a 4:1 ratio, and we just use the Duke Zone hardener. Find it saves a bit of money. That Duke Zone hardener, you're looking at about $80 for 2.5 litres, when if you go up to the VOC hardener, you're looking at about $240, $250 just for 2.5 litres, so it's really quite expensive. But yeah, we used to, when I first started working here, just use the Duke Zone primer, and I'm not a real big fan of the Duke Zone primer. The Standox primer is much better quality. But yeah, just to keep costs down, we just use the Duke Zone hardener, and it seems to, it dries nicely and it rubs down nicely, and it does a very good job. So just using that cheap old primer gun here. This yeah, actually since I made this video, this primer gun's been retired. I think it might have got about yeah, maybe 20 uses, and it's basically rubbish now already. So there you go, there's my first coat. Just not too heavy, don't want to go on totally wet, so you're going to run it, and also you run the risk if you go on too heavy of having it shrink back and stuff like that. So I just gave that 5 minutes in between coats and let it flash off. It's obviously going to depend on the hardness that you're using, and yeah, all temperatures and stuff like that. So as you can see, I gave it 45 minutes on the heat lights, and I'm checking the colour while I was letting that dry. So I mixed it up, used the Spectro, and yeah, sprayed it out. So you can see there, it's actually quite a nice colour match. That's just about perfect straight off the machine. Definitely no need to blend into that front door. It doesn't have any red flips on it, which some of the Standox blues are pretty well known among the painters to have a bit of a red flip on them. Yeah, with that any colour that's got that lapis blue in it, guys will know, which is 885. Stay well away from it. If you do ever see it in a colour, just sort of half it, and you can always add it back later if you do need it. Anyway, so yeah, now my primer's dry. Just going around all those edges and making sure we're not going to hit them with our sanding when we sand it down. So this is just the first video that I'm making on this one. If you guys would like to see the next video, I'll be uploading it the following week to this. So keep an eye out for that one, which will be the paintwork and the masking as well. So you can see I'm just sanding that primer just by hand to start off with. I just used a piece of 320. I didn't want to go too coarse. I wouldn't want to go 240 because there really wasn't much of a I got the camera up nice and close for you in the primer stage, and there really wasn't any sort of low or high spots. There's not much I really need to block into. I'm just blocking it just for good faith, I guess. There's probably really no need to, just for the sake of, you know, it has been blocked and it's a nice car. If it was anything else, I'd probably just sand it and you'd nearly just about wet on wet primer that if it was just an older car or something like that. But decided, yeah, it's a nice car, so I better do it properly. And just going over those 320 grit scratches just with a piece of 500, and just make sure you get all the edges while you got that 500 soft pad in your hand. And I'll then you can see I gave it a good dust off again, got rid of that dust, and now I'm just using 800 grit here. 800's a good one to use when you're doing blends. Sometimes I use 600. Anywhere from 600 to 1000 is pretty safe when you're doing blends. Sometimes I even used to use 500, as coarse as 500 on some of the darker colours, but 600 usually does the job quite well. Just because I didn't want to go through on this car, just decided to use a piece of 800. So just be careful around all the edges that you don't cut through and stuff like that. Even my prep guy, he goes, how the hell do you do that? You know, like if he does the same thing, he just ends up getting cut throughs on my blends and stuff like that. I said, oh, it's just all in technique. It's just how you hold it and knowing the tool and what it's going to do. Yes, sometimes you're better off just doing it, and obviously got to finish off those edges by hand. So if you're not sure on the edges, just finish off by hand. It's sometimes easier. And that top lip, you just got to be careful you don't cut through that edge too. So I would have preferred to have had that headlight taken out, but the guy who was stripping the car, the panel beater, he said, oh, you have to pull the whole bumper bar off in order to get that headlight out. So I just said, oh, I'll just work around it. He just sort of released it a little bit for me, just lifted it out off the edge a bit, and we were able to paint it without getting any edges there. So same with that front bumper, we just released it. And next up, I'm just using 800 softback sanding sponge. I prefer these to Scotch-Brite for a couple of reasons. Because they will sand into, you'll actually sort of expose more of the fresher paint. So you'll actually take that top layer off, and also you will be removing some of the orange peel as well. Whereas if you do what I used to do, and what a lot of people probably still do, in just Scotch-Briting, you will find that you actually not remove the orange peel out of the paint, so you'll just be going over that orange peel, and you won't cut in as far as the softback sanding sponges do. So I find it does make for a much better job using these, especially on these nice cars. You want to start again with your orange peel, you have to be confident in the fact that you can replicate the orange peel, so you don't want to be relying on the fact that you've left orange peel in that fender already and then your paint's going to go over the top of that, because most of the time I've found it'll be uneven and stuff like that. So you want to get that panel right back down to dead flat again, and then start again. You've got to look at the car, you've got to say, well, that's the kind of orange peel I've got to replicate. You've got to decide which gun you're going to use and what pressure and thinning ratios and all that kind of stuff. As a painter, there's more to this job than what most people think there is, and yeah, that's why I'm here, to try and help you guys and share all my knowledge of anything that I can in this trade. So make sure you guys give these vids a big thumbs up. From what I hear, it actually helps my videos show up in search results and stuff like that, so give them a thumbs up. Always make a comment, always do my best to answer any questions, so feedback's always welcome too. Check me out on my Facebook page too. I've got a Facebook page where I link all of my videos over there as well, and yeah, also post some pics up and stuff like that. So hang around here for a couple more minutes after I've finished scuffing this panel down. I'll give you a look at it when it's all finished off, when the car's all finished off. So since making this video, I've actually started working at my own workshop. Haven't really done much work there. We've started just doing a little bit here and there, and so it's been pretty busy for me lately, but I'm just going through some of this footage that I had, because I'm having a bit of a break at the moment, having some time off over the Christmas break, and yeah, just decided to make this video up for you guys. So you also notice around now, I was very careful to go over that primed section last. If you go over that prime area and then you go over your blend areas, that dust from that primer can actually end up on your blend area, and then that will sort of leave a bit of a milky haze underneath your clear coat. So all little stuff like that is why I say it's actually not an easy job. There's so many things that can go wrong and can make your life just living hell. And yeah, just giving a very good high pressure air blow off next up, and the next episode will be in the booth masking it up and painting. So here's the car when it's all finished off. Don't forget to go and check out that other channel of mine. Yeah, it's called Australian Car Shows. I'll put a link in that description, as I mentioned before. Check that out, and as you can see, it's a beautiful car. It really is a nice car. I did include as much info as what I could about this car in that other video I said I had. It's a nice V6. Even just check out that front grille. It's a really nice shape, nice looking car. These wheels are pretty sexy looking too. Fender looks all brand new again now. You would never know that had ever been painted, and that's my job. Hang around to the very end here. Also got a couple of other links to a couple of my other favourite videos. A couple of different gun reviews. I've got a DeVilbiss versus Sada versus Iwata. So put the three big guns head to head and given you guys my review and demo on it. And also I've got just a cheap gun versus a expensive gun. So a DeVilbiss versus this cheapy car mix gun, and you'll be able to see there what you get when you buy a good gun. So it's a beautiful interior in it, as you can see. Top class Italian quality car there. Thanks for watching, and this has been another Gunman production. Goodbye.